Lentor Central, is it oversupplied? Hi everyone, in today's video, I'm going to talk about an infamous location in Singapore with currently 6 launches, 1 coming up and roughly 4 more land plots in that area, a total of 10 potential condos in this area itself. And of course, if you have been following the property market so far, you will know where this location is. Before I begin, once again, thanks for watching my video. Do again help me like and subscribe if you find that my information is very useful. If your friends are also looking for a place, they want some idea. I've been doing a couple of projects. You can share with them. Feel free to. And without further ado, let me begin. Yes, if you have been following earlier, it is Lentor. Yeah, okay, so Lentor sits on Thomson East Line, 1 stop away from Mayflower. Then it is also an upcoming location because it is rather exclusive back then. Before, when the MRT was constructing, that plot should be a forested area if I'm not wrong, and landed enclave, and probably 1 condo called Thompson Grove over there. So today I am going to talk about the latest launch in that area called Lentor Central Residences. Okay, today's video a bit more streamlined lah. I'll try to pick out things that I feel most important for my viewers, most important to me as a property agent when I look out for a certain project. And today I'll also give my rating for this project. So first off, I'm going to talk about how to look at Lentor as what's the game plan over there. What is important. Then after which I'll talk about the site plan of Lentor Central Residences. Third, we'll look at which bedroom type to look out for and what are the price support and how can we profit potentially from there. Finally, I will zoom out from this and talk about what are the future buyers into this area. What is the key thing that they are looking for? And finally, of course, my project investment rating for Lentor Central Residences. Okay, so what is the game plan at Lentor's cluster? Everyone is always asking me. Gary, there's so many launches over there. Actually, okay lah. There is Lentor Modern, Hillock, Lentor Hill Residences, Lentor Mansion, and Lentoria. Why the government allows so many parcel of land to be bought over there? Okay, I think in preparation, of course, for the future HDB upgraders, which I'll mention later part in this video. But if you look at how I look at or streamline Lentor into 2 categories. Number 1, is it within 1 kilometer to a very good school in the area called St. Nicholas? Number 2, if it's not within that 1 kilometer radius, what is the other strategy we should be looking at? So if we were to be looking at the first part that I mentioned, easily you'll realize that Lentor Hills, Lentoria, and Lentor Modern is part of that 1 kilometer radius to St. Nicholas Girls' School. And this, I think, is a very unique opportunity because if you look at Panorama, which I believe a lot of agents has been sharing probably with their clients, the take-up rate at Panorama even flow over to Pierce and Meadow because of the quite an undersupply of family type units. You can see the uptake and the price trajectory forward from Panorama that signifies to me that there is a certain importance of being able to target that primary school in this area, and that is where some of the buyers that I met along the way through my journey has always been thinking about school for their kids as one of the consideration for them to change their location, upgrade their house, or even move closer even though their kid is already in the school. I think it also helps to facilitate some convenience in sending them to school. Okay, so this is one part where how I look at the first portion of my game plan. The second game plan is what happens to the units that are not within 1 kilometer to the school. This is very important. To me, this, in order to do well, number 1, you need to have transactions that has already that has been higher, that is proven to be higher. Number 2, you need to have this thing called the harmonization. Harmonization actually helps, I feel, to make the price quantum a bit more attractive. As you can see from Lentor mentions take up rate last year 2024, they are almost 70% sold, because once harmonization comes in, they remove unnecessary spaces that are not within the floor plan, and hence the price quantums changes or drops significantly by 8 to 10%. And this is very evident, and it's going to be very evident at Lentor Central residence, which I will touch on the unit type to look at and the price points, that the price support that we will see from the surrounding plot. Okay, so this is my part 2 of my game plan. If you're not buying within the school, buy the cheapest. And seemingly, based on the launch price of Lentor Central residences likely to be one of the cheapest. Of course, you must have a good ballot number lah. Okay, so this is how I look at it. And another way to also address is Lentor oversupply. Because if we look at it on a macro perspective, you will realize that there is 6 plots of condo. And in people's mind, condos are easily maybe 800 units, 900 units, or at least 700 units. But in totality, if you look at how the units are being break down in Lentor, it is actually almost the size, just slightly larger than Treasures at Tampines. Okay, so essentially what I feel about Lentor collection, or this Lentor cluster, if today there are 2,000, almost 3,000 units, 2,954 units, and if the take-up rate is only 1,000 or maybe 900, then I think likely there's a bit of oversupply situation going on. However, if you look at the existing units that are available right now, which is only 158 as of last week, February 2025, that translates to only 6% of the units available. This shows me that there is a good amount of demand for private houses along this Lentor MRT. And also, I think this MRT presents a very convenient kind of attribute to this cluster itself, and hence the take-up rate is quite significant. And on top of that, with Lentor Modern having a mall at level 1 and 2, this actually brings amenities for the future homeowners that's going to stay there. So this eradicates the problem of there's no amenities, have to drive quite a bit of distance to Yio Chu Kang, the wet market, and so on and so forth. So essentially, if you ask me, is Lentor's cluster oversupplied? I think the results speak for itself. And if you ask me, Gary, I can't get a chance to buy within that 1 kilometer to St. Nicholas Girls' School. What else can I look at? This project that I'm talking about. Feel free to contact me. I think there's a high chance that if you are looking for own stay, the layouts, later I'll talk about it, is very comfortable. If not, if you are looking to flip, I can't find a better word, flip your property journey, I think over here at Lentor Central, you have a good chance as well. Okay, so next, talking about the site plan. Okay, Lentor Central is a comprehensive condominium with facilities that matches most of the condo. You want a tennis court, there's a tennis court. You want pools, there are pools. You want barbecue pit, you want a big gym. They have it all inside here. So I wouldn't say that it is a project that has some shortfall in terms of the facilities, in terms of the landscaping, in terms of the amenities. And one thing to top it up, it is also the highest condo in this whole cluster. It is 28 and 27 stories for the 2 different blocks. And finally, I would say that the layouts are particularly, before I talk about that, do you know that they have an infinity pool? Like similar like an infinity pool. I think that is a very nice feature, especially when your future potential buyers, upgraders, when they drive through the entrance area, right, they could be able to see this whole infinity pool in display. I think that will actually help to garner a lot of interest, or rather impressive when buyers come and see, when resale buyers come and see. Okay, next up. Talking about, since we are at the site plan, there's only 2 blocks. Talking about the layouts, right, I would recommend straight up, I would recommend us to look at 3 bedrooms, 4 bedrooms, and also the 1 bedrooms. I least likely recommend to look at the 2 bedrooms because I feel personally that Lentor cluster itself has quite a number of 2 bedrooms in terms of the supply. So unless you are looking to stay in the area, then of course you want a bigger space. You upgraded from a 1 bedroom, you want to go for a 2 bed 1 bath, 2 bed 2 bath, or it's a starter home, it fits your budget, and you are near your parents in surrounding Thomson area, then I think it's fine. You can look at the 2 bedroom. But having said that, I recommend the 1, 3, and 4 because I feel that there is a certain unique character that I will present to you in terms of the price support, in terms of the exit, and in terms of the resale, which all totality the resellability in the future. Okay, so if you look at the 3, right, I would recommend the 915 layout for the 3 bedrooms. Okay, because I feel personally that this is a very good size for upgrader family, very good size for starter family, and also in the future the price budget shouldn't jump too much, because if you are watching this video right now, you should have seen the starting prices for the 3 bedroom is around 1.8x million. So if you are lucky, you already got it at 1.8x, 1.9, or even 2, to resell it in the future at around 300, 400k more, you should be on the sweet spot for most of the upgraders' affordability when they buy together as a couple. Okay, so if you can follow me, I would say a compact 3 would be a kind of like a nice sweet spot. And of course, you have to sacrifice on certain things lah. You will not have a full yard, you will not have a storage solution. So these are pros and cons when we were to pick a certain unit. So look at what do you value the most. Okay, the next one I would like to recommend for the 4 bedroom, right, is the 1184 square feet 4 bedrooms. Please, if you want to have a even more closer look at the layouts, feel free to drop me a WhatsApp through my comments below so that we can also discuss in greater details of how this layout is really very efficient and functional. Okay, especially if you happen to also have the layout already, you open it up, you can see that the room sizes are very regular. They are all facing the same direction, which is very important because 4 bedrooms tend to have one of the bedroom facing the back of the house, which don't allow much light to come in, especially if it's at the air well. Okay, number 2 is that the master room size is superb. It is huge. It can easily fit a king size bed, a study, a powder table. If you still have another kid coming along, you need a baby cot inside, it works as well. So I think in general sense, Hong Leong has done a good job for this 1184 square feet 4 bedroom. And to top it off, there's only 2 stacks. So there's very limited number of units for this 1184 square feet. Starting from prices is 2.3x. I think you should be getting around, I feel like they should probably average around 2.4 high to close to 2.5 kind of budget. Yet with this pricing budget, I don't think you can find a brand new walking distance to MRT, to the mall, 4 bedroom brand new in the whole of a Thomson area. Yeah, so I think this is one of the champion product if you can lay your hands on. If you have very lucky queue number, if you want to get ahead of the queue, you can always ask me. I can advise. Other than that, okay, so this is about the 4 bedroom. Later we look at the price support. And finally, usually I don't say this, but the 1 bedroom is interesting too. What I realized, or rather learned from my managers who have been in talks with developers, they also found out that nowadays they don't really do 1 bedroom anymore. They probably do a 1 plus study, but not really too much of a 1 bedroom. Later I'll show you like the recent launches, Chuan Park, Emerald, at Katong, and even Nava. They don't really have a very high percentage compared to back then when it's 20-30% of 1 bedrooms in the condominiums that probably just TOP'd in the last 3 years. Okay, so I also learned one thing. They call this type of one bedroom as a filler to the floor, to the whole level plan nowadays, because of the change in ruling in 2019. So the average size has to be bigger, so now they have to focus on filling up the bigger units first, and then they see where they can slot in the one bedrooms if can possible. So what does this mean, and why am I telling you this, is that it really breeds scarcity. It really breeds a bit of a low supply of one bedroom, which is very strange comparatively. If you take a direct analogy comparison, you look at Pasir Ris Grove area, everyone might also feel that the area is a bit oversupplied back then, but there is also oversupply of one bedrooms in that area, significantly more than Lentor cluster. So if you are single, if you are an investor, if you have a limited budget around 1.2 million or lesser, and you want to buy something brand new, you want to not be too far from the MRT, and you want to have amenities, I highly suggest you to look at Lentor Central Residences. It is quite a unique product, and I don't usually recommend one bedrooms also in general sense, but this one worth to look at. Okay, number 3. So which bedroom types to look at? Just now I have mentioned 3, 4, and if you captured also one bedroom. So essentially now if we look at the 3 bedrooms transacted, I think most important is how to consider that this purchase price, this entry price for a new, for anything that you buy anyway, is justifiable. I think you want to have some price support in the surrounding, and it is very rare that new projects have price support, or even maybe 100, 200, 300k different from what is transacted in the surrounding, because the train of thought has always been new is always more expensive than the older ones or the resale. Okay, however, as I have mentioned, because of this natural this harmonization ruling, it naturally helps to bring not say bring down lah, it actually helps to right price the houses, because of the 8 to 10% deduction of the square feet from the floor plan. Okay, so if we look at this, essentially what is transacted as a 3 bedroom in Lentor Modern, Lentor Hill, Hillock, and Lentoria and Lentor Mansion, they are all in a range of around 2.1, 2.2, and highest being Lentor Modern 2.3. And this to me signifies a benchmark for accepted prices in that area, and also next time when we were to exit, we will be helped by these buyers to actually not just push up our price, but actually help to drive inquiry into our resale listing, because people will be wondering if, for example, Lentor Modern is purchase average 2.3, they want to sell for 2.7, 2.8 million dollars, but if you can get your hands at 1.8 at Lentor Central Residences, or 1.9 or even $2 million per se, okay, and you want to exit at 2.4 million dollars, sorry, $2.4 million, I think in the resale market, people will wonder how come are you selling below what is asking in this area. Wouldn't that help to generate inquiry to your listing, and then that actually help us to sieve out the best offer that we can get for you? Or potentially you can try to match up their asking price and potentially make more. Okay, so this is how I look at it. And if we look at the price matrix, given the 915 square feet unit, the compact one that I recommended, starting from around $1.875 million, that is 2050 PSF. Even if I were to push up, say for example, you get a higher floor unit and eventually you land at $2.241 million, which is the tail end of the price matrix, you are still just slightly higher than the average price transacted, not considering the other 50 percentile that transacted higher, that is can go up to close to $2.5 million for a 3 bedroom in Lentor cluster itself. So if you ask me, this actually helps to I hope this actually helps to give you some assurance when you come and look at a unit over at Lentor Central Residences, because it is not very common, especially if you are looking for a place in the resale market. You will also find that for family type units, 3, 4 or even 5 bedrooms, after one unit is being transacted and shown in the caveat, the next owner or the next owner is likely to ask for slightly more, and then this as a result causes the price to gradually move up. So as a buyer, it is very hard to see this kind of price support in most places lah, I would say. Okay, having said that, we can also move on to the 4-bedroom. Same likewise. In fact, 4 bedrooms are a bit more significant, okay, in terms of the accepted transacted prices or average transacted prices, having Lentor Modern pushing ahead at $3.1 million, and the rest average around $2.7 million, close to $2.8 million. And that's why I said harmonization actually helps you to have a more attractive entry price into this area, and that should be the way if you are not within 1 kilometer to St. Nicholas Girls' School, because the impetus is different from the future buyers. Okay, so now we are using price to attract them to exit down the road in the future. And who knows, maybe you are buying for own consumption. You might not want to sell it in the near term 4 or 5 years. You would like to hold it for the 10-year. And I think if you see 4-bedroom transactions across the board in Singapore over a 10 years holding period, you can see a significant amount of profit. You have to realize with a long holding period. Okay, so having said that, like I said, the 1184 unit is very interesting. Okay, starting from prices is around, by right, it's a high 2.3. So if you do a 2.427 at 2050 PSF, even if I were to lend you at around 2003 to close to 2004 PSF, you are still at the average transacted price. Again, having Lentor Modern helping you to push the 4-bedroom prices there forward. Okay, so essentially, why I feel that the 4 bedrooms are quite a gem to consider, because number one, the layout. Number two, it's scarcity. There's only 2 stacks of 1184 square feet. Number three, it is being harmonized such that because the size is slightly smaller on the square feet, and hence this translates to a price saving compared to the surrounding transacted prices of the rest of the condos in Lentor cluster. Okay. And finally, the last bedroom type that I recommend, which I don't usually recommend, is the 1-bedroom, and I quote unquote is gradual extinction. It feels like developers nowadays don't really like to do 1-bedroom, maybe because the profit margin is very little, and then with the harmonization also, it becomes the PSF looks significantly higher, probably. Okay, so without having a lot of 1-bedrooms coming up, especially when the ruling in January 2019 stating that there has to be a increase in the minimum size. Okay, what happens is the net effect. Before developments that are launched during the crazy en bloc period of 2017 to 2018, you can see new launches like Park Colonial Riverfront Affinity at Serangoon having 36%, 32%, 20%, so between 20 to 30% kind of 1-bedroom layouts taking up the total number of units. Moving forward, just last year, 2024, when the first plot harmonization comes out, Emerald at Katong, there's only 9.6. This presents a very significant drop in the number of 1-bedroom units. Chuan Park don't even want to do any 1-bedrooms at all. Okay, and Nava Grove also don't have any 1-bedroom at all. So moving forward, this means that the influx of 1-bedroom, new 1-bedrooms into the market is going to be significantly lower. And what does this mean is how we can leverage on the lesser, newer 1-bedrooms, and then how can we exit with that. That's the most important thing, because I can challenge you, if you go into Riverfront on Property Guru or any portal listing or Affinity, you're going to see a lot of 1-bedroom listings over there, and this presents a competition Conversely, if you have a project that don't really have any one bedroom, and most of the time, if they are own stayers or investors, they likely not to hold for a 3 years period, 4 years period. They likely want to stay for 2 years, 3 years before they upgrade. There is a 5 years holding period. If it's an investor for rental yield, down paid 50%, want to collect some rent, want to collect some rental income, they will likely to hold it for also another 6 to probably 10 years. So essentially, the condo itself in Lentor will not have a lot of listings as a competition for you when you want to exit down the road. Okay. So like I said, it's gradual extinction. If you notice, in totality, there is 2,954 units in 6 Lentor projects. There is only 237 units of 1 bedroom and 1 plus study. And later, if I were to zoom down to the one bedroom units, they are even lesser. Okay, so less than 10%, there's only 8%. Okay. And if you look at the prices of the 1 bedroom, it has already surpassed 1.3 million average price at Lentor Modern accepted by people that bought and transacted before. So coming in as a starting from price at 975,000, which is still quite unheard of for any 1 bedroom so far in the launches. I think leading up to, if you were to be able to get a unit below $1.2 million, I think it is still quite a safe consideration for any of the potential buyers, or you have a amount of money sitting inside the bank account, and then the interest that you're earning is also not significant, and you want to do other forms of reinvestment. I think 1 bedrooms at Lentor Central can consider. Okay. Finally, when we look at who is our future buyers, I think this is also one of the key things that I want to address. Okay, so to talk about who are our future potential buyers, right? Firstly, I would like to use the map to show you. In this area, actually is very exclusive for Lentor cluster or the Lentor collection, because if you see on the right side, they are all landed houses. In the middle, together with Lentor collection, is Thompson Grove, which is 1 condo, right down to the Calrose, and then Far Horizon. And then if you look at the left side of Lentor, it is also landed houses. The only HDB cluster comes from Yio Chu Kang Green itself. Okay, so how does this simulate, or how do I look at this, right? Is if I do a comparison to, let's look at Pasir Ris Grove. Similarly, Pasir Ris Grove has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 condos, namely Belsia, Elias Green, Livia, NV Residence, Coco Palms, The Padlet, and Dinas. Okay, so back then, when this happens in 2012, 2013 period, right, you can see that the transactions are very slow in the period of 2015, 2017. It is only recently, in the last 4 years or the last 3 years, you can see that the take-up rate or the transaction of this Pasir Ris Grove condo significantly increases. And why is this so? It is actually being supported by the injection of HDB township. Okay, so number 1 we have is HDB Costa Ris. Okay, and eventually, then there is also the DBS Pasir Ris 1, and eventually there's going to have more HDB coming up just next to Pasir Ris Park. And not also considering the fact that there are also new HDB cluster on the adjacent township Tampines, and this helps to bring in some of the buyers from Tampines over to Pasir Ris, and hence this also shows how the condo prices can gradually move up when HDB is being injected. Another case example I use is Queenstown. This is also another very classic example of how injection of a newer HDB BTO cluster can actually help to buffer and help to push up the prices of the condo. Because back then in 2018, when I did one of my first few deals in Commonwealth Towers, okay, a newly TOP project, right, when we tried to market it out for sale in 2019 leading up to 2020, the HDB clusters there are not that have not met MOP yet, so the transaction was quite slow. Fast forward just another 2 to 3 years later, when you have the HDB clusters coming up at Forfar Heights, you have the HDB cluster coming up at Skyview, at Sky Terrace, as well as right now we have Dawson Vista. You can see that the demand for the condominiums at Commonwealth Towers, at Queens, at Sterling Residence significantly went up also. So this, what I'm trying to say is that with injection of HDB new township, I am pretty sure and I believe it has also been studied by the government that the condo prices will be supported. And why do they want to put in the condo first, then they put in the HDB? If they were to flip it around, they have HDB in first before they put in the new condos. That means to say the new HDBs were to MOP and then there's no new supply of condos, what will happen to the existing condo prices? I think this is one thing that the government tries to avoid having. For example, if there is no new condo, no Commonwealth Towers, no Queen's Peak, no Sterling Residences, there's only Queens, which is a 2007 condo. Can you imagine all these HDB owners? They will definitely go and whack Queens, and the price at Queens will shoot up quite significantly. So I think this is something that I feel is not part of the planning system. They want to have a more balanced kind of approach. And then henceforth, if we go back to look at Lentor itself, right? Eventually, this Lentor cluster, I'm sure you heard of before, will be supported by the newer HDBs down the road. Okay, down the road at Kebun Baru area, which is near Mayflower. Xinmin Garden, okay. Further down a bit more to Bishan area, where you have two very big plots coming up, which is Bishan Regis, as well as the one next to the one that is just Bishan Towers. So these are likely ones that will support the transactions at Lentor area. And also bear in mind that these are also likely to be $1 million HDB with without the Prime Plus scheme involved. Okay, finally, also one other cluster that we should not miss out, okay, which will be the buyers for the 915 square feet 3 bedrooms down the road, is at Chanchuria area. It is just behind Khatib MRT. It used to be where the Octo, where the fishing area is at Yishun, and where the Home Team NS clubhouse is. So this area is gonna should be around 9 to 10,000 new HDBs coming up around this area, and I think this is one of the buyers that is going to come down towards the Thomson East line from Springleaf down towards Lentor, and this will be your potential buyers in the future. And finally, we should not forget about Springleaf, because just outside of Springleaf is a very big plot of forested area that is going to be segmented into probably private and definitely HDBs also, because it has been a long time since this Springleaf area has any transformation. So having said all this, right, this is why I feel that the Lentor cluster is an essential part of township planning for URA, to make sure that there is enough condominiums in the Upper Thomson area, and in the Upper Thomson area, so that it does not cause any of the existing condos prices to shoot up quite significantly. Okay, so this is what I feel about the Lentor area. And finally, to give my project investment rating, to give my own rating, I have about 9 different attributes that I look at. And of course, the higher the score, the better the condominium. So if you follow me through, let's get on to see how Lentor Central residents will perform on my rating scale of total 18. Number 1, MRT and amenities, I'll give it a 2. Okay, because it's really very near to the mall, very near to the MRT. Okay, in fact, also to top it up, there's also greenery in the area. It's not just condominiums like Pasir Ris Grove area. Okay, future buyers HDB cluster, definitely there is coming up. Okay, nearby transformation GLS. Yes, it is a up and coming township you are buying into as the first, like they always like to use the word first mover advantage. So essentially, any subsequent plots, as of now, I think some of the plots that are still on reserve list, developers are also quite sharp lah. They wouldn't want to flood too many in the area also. So it could be 5, 6, 7 years later, then they will trigger these reserve sites. So essentially, this means that there is still anchoring prices down the road in the future. Okay. And then price support from transacted unit types. Yes, there is, as I have shown in the 1, 3, and 4 bedroom segments. Okay, and the layouts. Okay, I would say that I will give a 2 in terms of layout because they essentially is number 1, harmonized. Number 2, it is very efficient and functional, and it is targeted at homestayers. Okay, so I'll give a 2 in such a case. Project features and attributes, I think it is okay. That doesn't have any missing condo facilities, but it's also not like a wow factor. Wow factor like maybe Parktown, like a wow factor, you know. So I think I'll give it a 1. Okay, number of units, it is it's definitely more than 200 unit development. So I think it is still quite a good size development to consider. So I'll give it a 2 as well. Okay, primary school demand, not so, because it's not within 1 kilometer to St. Nicholas, which is one of the very sought after schools there. So I think I'll give it a 1 in such a case. Finally, number 9, most important, entry price. As I have mentioned, it has a very attractive total price quantum. So I'll give it a 2 in such a case. So if you follow me through, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So for Lentor Central residents, I'll give it a 16 out of 18 as my rating. And if you have seen my advertisement, I also call it quite a good great development lah. Okay, so if you are keen to find out more about Lentor Central, if you want to do any project comparison, if you want to find out about the timeline in terms of upgrading from a current place to a new place, what are the costs involved, how some of my buyers, how do they mitigate some of the additional costs involved when upgrading to a new condominium, do feel free to reach out to me, and I'm very happy to share with you. Thank you very much for watching my video, and I will be very happy to see you in my next video. Thank you.